In our second discussion of abortion, we explored the extent to which abortion law is closely related to politics or just a tool for political activism. And we saw how, in relation to both those trying to promote greater access to abortions, the law is used through the BPAS judicial review to try and force the government to liberalise the safeguards that are there in relation to the place of termination. And equally, we saw a series of events that were brought by those seeking to restrict access to abortion, using rights to protest, using freedom of information, seeking to explore, in the Jepsen case, the ability of private citizens to overtake the state authorities in terms of prosecution decisions. Now, what that shows us is that abortion is a highly contested moral question. It shows us that we're deeply divided in society. And it also shows us that the law is caught up in those debates rather than necessarily driving them. So we can have a discussion about the terms of the Abortion Act and argue what the moral status of the embryo is, what the nature of women's rights that are concerned, and try and enshrine those into a legal system. And that would be a fairly orthodox account of how we would hope that morality and law are connected. But we also need to bear in mind that there's a major social and political set of connections in which there's a degree of opportunism that those campaigners on both sides seize the opportunities that they see in terms of exerting political pressure or maybe using legal tools. And so to give a proper account about the relationship between moral questions and legal questions in relation to abortion, we have to discuss a lot more than the Abortion Act itself. And we have to be open to the fact that the pressures that drive the legal context in which people work, giving abortion services, go far beyond the terms of the Abortion Act themselves. And I invite you to think to the extent to which you think those are really driven by philosophical moral debates about the status of the fetus and rights, and how actually they're driven by debates about the allocation of power and the access to justice, and the way in which organisations coalesce, come together, campaign. And then maybe we should be a little bit more cynical about the idea that the current content of the law is prima facie ethically just, and ask a little bit more about the way in which it was produced and whether or not that production process has distorted our ability to tackle the ethical questions head on.